When I think about giving to Epiphany during stewardship season, I think about how much Epiphany means to me. I think about how Epiphany has cared for me, and I think about how deeply I care for Epiphany. And that is why I give. I give because I love being engaged in parish life at Epiphany. One highlight was when my husband's and my daughter was baptized here at Epiphany. This is her on the morning she was baptized in our living room before we left the house. And she was so excited, but she wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen that day. And she said that. She said, Mommy and Daddy, I'm a little nervous and I'm excited. And ever since then, Epiphany has been our spiritual home. As a parishioner, I take classes where I love learning about Jesus' teachings and about what various mystics and theologians and writers have to say about God and prayer and love in our everyday lives. I love going on hikes with the Epiphany hiking group with other parishioners where we get to know one another, and we're walking through this beautiful, beautiful home that we call the Pacific Northwest. We're walking with one another and we're walking with God on these hikes. I serve at the altar where I have the chance to be in the rhythm of liturgy with others. And I remember when I was a kid, I was mesmerized by all those shiny objects that were up at the altar. Back then, I did not know what they meant or what they symbolized, but what I did know back then and what I loved was that everyone moved at the same time. Everyone seemed to be choreographed together, and I was just in awe of that. And I was humbled by it, and I wondered how in the world they did that. So now, as an adult, so to be able to be at the altar and up close with those sacred objects and to know what they mean and what they symbolize and what they stand for, and yes, to now be able to move in unison with one another, just to be so present with one another up at the altar as we worship together, it is a dream come true. It's literally just a childhood dream come true, and I'm so grateful for it. I preach sermons, which I think of as conversations with God, and I also think of them as conversations with parishioners about God. One of my absolute favorite things to do here at Epiphany is to fill the candles for evensong. I take my time with it. Sometimes I'm alone in the church, and it's some quiet, kind of peaceful time with me where I feel like it's just God and I in this beautiful sanctuary. And sometimes I fill the candles with my daughter, and she and I will just be there together, and it's this quiet, lovely time between the two of us. And sometimes we talk, and sometimes we don't talk, but it's just this beautiful time together. And I think of it as caretaking. This is this way of physically caring for our church, a little similar, dare I say, in the way that Jesus' body was cared for before he was placed in the tomb. It's just all so special and it's meaningful. I currently serve as senior warden on the vestry, and what I appreciate so much about being on the vestry is how we support each other's spiritual journeys, how we talk about the vision and plans for Epiphany and how they might change, how those plans might respond to what's going on in the world and to what needs and various ministries here at Epiphany those ministries might have. We talk about how all of that affects the staff and the congregation, and the vestry is just a meaningful group that I hadn't even known existed, and now it's just become a really, really just lovely and meaningful experience. Not just a group, but it's an experience in my life. And now please know I'm not listing these things as a laundry list or as bragging or humble bragging. There's so many people, so many parishioners at Epiphany that are so active and so involved. But what this constellation of offerings and of activities all have in common is that they are all a part of Epiphany's budget. And all those things on the budget are the way that we engage with one another and engage with this church that is so special to us and engage in our relationship with God. That is why I give. When we give to Epiphany during the annual appeal, we're actively expanding what Epiphany can do for parishioners, for the world, and for God. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your pledge. It matters to Epiphany and to your fellow parishioners.